What's up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. Welcome to the FA Podcast. We got a ton of stuff going down right now. Of course, March Madness rolling on. I got the Iowa-Clemson game going right here. That's a tie-up. That should be Clemson's ball. We got hockey. We got NBA, of course. Golf's on. Everything's going down. But we, right here on the FAA Podcast, have mock drafts continuing to roll through the teams, and tonight we're going with the double Bs, the Bears and the Bills. So that should be intriguing. Bills, both teams, I should say, playoff teams this past season. Bills still just looking for that breakthrough to the Super Bowl with Josh Allen has not come yet. The Bears, kind of a surprise, wild comeback in the wild card round. But they look like a team to be reckoned with in the NFC North and the NFC overall under Ben Johnson going into year 2 with quarterback Caleb Williams in year 3 as well. So let's get to it here. Starting off, of course, Fernando Mendoza to the Las Vegas Raiders. Jets, always an interesting one. They go Ruben Bain. Cardinals, they go David Bailey. Wow. Pro Football Sports Network has the new Titans logo. Arvell Reese to Tennessee. Carnell Tate to the Giants at 5. Jordan Tyson for the Browns at 6. Sonny Styles, the Commanders at 7. Jeremiah Love goes to the Saints. Caleb Lomu, the Lions coming up for a tackle, $17.50 and a second next year. Going to the Chiefs. Caleb Downs to the Bengals. Francis Alagoa to the Cowboys. Rams going Monroe Freeling. Mekhi Lemon, Niners coming up, $27.58 and a third next year to the Ravens. Jermon McCoy to the Bucks. Keldrick Falk, Chargers coming up, $22.55 to the Jets. Chiefs going Peter Woods. Dylan Thieneman to the Vikings. Panthers going Spencer Fano. The Cowboys, they're going Avion Terrell. Steelers, they go Caden McDonald. The Jets, the Texans come up 28-69 for the Jets. Oleva Vega Ione to the Texans. Kenyon Sadiq for the Eagles. The Browns, they went Max Iheanacho. So we are on with the Bears. 22 spots for the Colts. 6 spots for a second next year for New England. That's not a bad trade. 7 spots for a second this year and a 7th going back to Seattle. Also, not terrible. Not a terrible deal to move back to 31 or 32. So for Chicago, I initially had safety, and I do think safety potentially could be in play still. Now they did re-sign. Did he change his name? It used to be Jonathan Owens. Gervarius Owens. Is that a different guy than Jonathan Owens? Okay, I guess it is. All right, just making sure. Wanted to make sure on that one. But they don't really have a ton at safety. They did sign Cam Lewis from Buffalo, Kobe Bryant, the big addition from Seattle. But I think safety could definitely still be in play for the Bears. Edge rush, okay? Edge rush is definitely in play. They have not done anything at that position besides re-signing Deo Odeyingbo. So they really do need some edge rush to help Montez Sweat there. Interior defensive line, they did a great job filling that in. They re-signed Grady Jarrett. They got Kentavious Street, Neville Gallimore, and James Lynch in free agency. Of course, have 25 second-rounder Shamar Turner in tow as well. And then wide receiver. Okay, they traded DJ Moore. They didn't do anything else at the wide receiver position other than sign Khalif Raymond, former Ben Johnson disciple there in Detroit. But I do definitely think they need wide receiver help. Give Rome Odunze and Luther Burden some help, as well as get more depth. Jade Walker's been a great addition in his rookie season, undrafted last year, but they definitely need more, I think. In terms of looking at the rest of the roster, I think you could go interior offensive line with a higher level pick there. Joe Tooney, obviously in his 30s. Garrett Bradbury signed. I think I would like a more solidified backup to the center there. Good at most of the other spots. Yeah, I like the linebacker core. Corner is very good as well, and they're good on special teams. So, yeah, what do we got here at the top of the board for Chicago? 6 spots for New England's second next year, 7 spots for a second this year from Seattle, and a 7th back to them. We got Caden Proctor, Omar Cooper. I think I don't want to go a first-round wide receiver. Well, that's perfect. Akeem Mesidor. That makes a ton of sense. You look at he's a bigger body guy, 6'3", 280, which is that's okay because Chicago runs a base 4-3, so bigger guy that can stop the run on the edge and give you some pass rush on third down as well. So, yeah, Akeem Mesidor, I think this makes it an easier selection than trading back potentially. He's the only pass rusher really at the top of the board here. TJ Parker, a solid addition as well, but Akeem Mesidor, I think, should be the pick here for Chicago. And one pick later, we're on with the Bills. Wow, the Eagles want to come up 54. A second, a third, a second next year, and a 4th next year. That's a ton. 5 spots back with New England for a 2nd-round pick and a 4th-round back to them this year. I don't know. I don't think so. What Buffalo I had for Buffalo initially corner, and that definitely I think is still in play. They didn't do really anything in free agency. They signed D. Alford to be the nickel, but I still think you need more there. Edge rusher, that's a big loss. They lost AJ Epinesa. Joey Bosa is still a free agent. They did sign Bradley Chubb. Injury concerns there, of course. They do have 24 5th-round pick Javon Solomon, Michael Hoyt. Greg Rousseau is obviously the stud in that rotation, but I wouldn't mind adding a pass rusher to that to kind of hedge the Bradley Chubb signing. Linebacker is a big one. Okay, they did not re-sign Matt Milano, and you look at Shaq Thompson, Balin Spector, all still free agents. Corner-wise, they didn't sign back any of their corners. Tre'Davious White, Darius Slay retired, actually. Cut him off that page there. But Dane Jackson, Tre'Davious White, Cam Lewis went to Chicago as a nickel there. But linebacker, I definitely think linebacker could be a thing here to get a third guy with Dorian Williams and Terrell Bernard, 2 really solid draft picks by Brandon Bean. Interior offensive line, okay. They did re-sign Alec Anderson, re-signed Connor McGovern. Cyrus Torrance is a stud, but they need a lot of depth and competition, I think, as well for Anderson at left guard. Wide receiver is a big one. Obviously, the DJ Moore trade, but they need more, pun intended there. Khalil Shakir and DJ Moore, they need more help. And then QB2, okay, they got that out of the way. Kyle Allen signed from Detroit. And the only other thing I would maybe say is interior defensive line. I like. It's interesting. Landon Jackson, they put it as a D end in a 3-4. That's weird. All right. So what do we have here for Buffalo at the top? The tackles are very good. They have some draft picks behind those guys. Omar Cooper, I think, would be an excellent selection. You look at 6'2", Casey Concepcion, similar 5'11", 190. Concepcion's going to give you the return ability as well. But Omar Cooper, I think, is the better player. We have a ton of corners available. And I like going with Omar Cooper. I think, they need edge rush. And TJ Parker would be a solid addition, but I think you want Josh Allen to have his guys, those weapons. So you pair Omar Cooper with Khalil Shakir and DJ Moore. I think you have a great triumvirate there at the top for Buffalo. Ravens are going to go Brandon Cisse. Casey Concepcion goes to the Jets. That's a great pick for them. Caden Proctor for the Chiefs. That's a great pick as well. Dolphins going Chris Bell. Patriots, they're going to go C.J. Allen. Seahawks go Colton Hood, replacing Reek Woolen. Ty Simpson goes to the Jets, of course. Cardinals going Chase Besantis. Titans, they're going to go Christian Miller. Raiders going Blake Miller. Manuel Pregnon for the Giants. Jacob Rodriguez goes to the Texans. Sam Hecht to the Browns. So that's tough. With the Bills not having a second round pick from DJ Moore trade, that's tough. I wanted to come up for TJ Parker here. Unfortunately, we just do not have the picks. For the Bears, though, I don't hate coming up. We already have Akeem Messidor in tow, so it wouldn't be for TJ Parker. But it would be for a safety, okay? Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is a first-round type of guy, and I think he would fit in excellently in this Chicago secondary. So I like coming up for Emmanuel McNeil-Warren here from 57 because we already have 60 still, so it's okay. We can come up to 40 here and see if we can get a pick back. All right, let's get 169 back. We move back 80 spots with our third round selection. Yeah, okay. Let's see if we can pick up maybe a 7 next year. Okay, or not. Whatever. They really don't want to give us 148. All right. We'll keep it at 169. Well, they didn't accept it anyways, so what's the point? Oh my gosh. They didn't accept it anyways. Can we get 176 back? Well, what do you want, Chiefs? What do you want? Because I don't know. We're looking at 57 and 89. You know what? We'll go 57 and a third next year. And 129. I do not know what they want because this is wild that they would not accept that. Okay. Well, we're just gonna have to. All right. TJ Parker goes to the Chiefs. Let's try the Bengals because I don't know what the Chiefs wanted, man. I mean, they're like ridiculous to try to prove anything here. My goodness. This is crazy. All right. Finally, we got a pick here. We moved back 60 spots. We traded a third round pick next year, but we are finally on the clock. And screw the Chiefs because they want to come up 9 spots. Screw you guys. We are not trading with you ever again. That's an excellent offer. 7 picks for 189 and a second next year. Wow. But we came up for a reason. That's the draft of Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I think he's a perfect fit for this. Chicago secondary, 6'2", 182, tackling machine, has great ball skills as well. Malachi Lawrence goes to the Saints. Dolphins get Gabe Jacas. Chris Johnson goes to the Jets. Denzel Boston for the Ravens. Chiefs coming up for Keith Abney, 50 and 148. Go to Tampa. D'Angelo Pons goes to the Colts. Chris Brazzell to the Falcons. Keontae Scott for the Vikings. Anthony Hill Jr. for the Bucks. AJ Halsey goes to the Panthers. Lee Hunter for the Packers. Steelers go Genesis Smith. Zion Young for the Eagles. Jets going Demetrius Crownover. Julian Neal goes to the Jags. Bengals going Cassius Howell with the pick we traded them. Mike Washington Jr. for the Ravens. Texans go Lewis Moore, and we are back on with Chicago here. 2 third-round picks for our 60 and 189. I'm not sure about that. I don't really like that one. But we were on defense here. We got an edge rusher. We got safety for Chicago. Interior defensive line and wide receiver were my other 2 needs here. Interior defensive line I don't think is a need anymore. I really think it's up to interior O-line and wide receiver. So what do we have here? We have wide receivers on the board. Jeremy Bernard and Antonio Williams, Skylar Bell. We have Jennings Dunker on the board as well. Jeremy Bernard, 6'1", 204. Antonio Williams, smaller, 5'11", 190. Skylar Bell, 6 foot, 185. And then you had the massive Ted Hurst, 6'3", 185. I really like Ted Hurst. I think he would be awesome in this offense. But I'm going to go with the run game. Ben Johnson wants to run the ball, okay? And I'm going to get a future starter here in the Iowa Hawkeye, Jennings Dunker, to open lanes here for DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monangai, and Rashawn Johnson. So give me Jennings Dunker for the Bears. Antonio Williams to the Rams. Caleb Banks goes to the Broncos. Patriots going Ted Hurst. Seahawks, they go Skylar Bell. Traden Stukes, Falcons coming up 79 and a third next year. Joshua Josephs for the Titans. Justin Jolie for the Raiders. Eagles going Jeremy Bernard. Emmett Johnson goes to the Jets. Oscar Delp to the Browns. Commanders, they go Jadarian Price. Jacoby Lane for the Bengals. Josiah Trotter, Cowboys, 92 and 112 coming up. Damon Claiborne for the Chiefs. Jonah Coleman for the Dolphins. Steelers going Parker Brailsford. R. Mason Thomas for the Bucks. Elijah Surratt to the Colts. Cardinals going Caleb Tiernan. Keelan Rutledge for the Ravens. Jags going Grayson Halton. I love that selection. Connor Liu for the Vikings. Panthers, they go Eli Stowers. Packers going Davis and Igbinosun. Bryce Lance for the Steelers. Jake Golday, Giants coming up 105, 145, and 193. Kamari Ramsey for the Dolphins. Drew Shelton for the Jags. And we're back on for our final pick with the Texans. That's too far to go down. Sorry, Houston. Also too far for me with the Bengals. So it's been a great draft for the Bears. I really liked all three selections we've done. Akeem Messidor, Emmanuel McNeil, Warren, Jennings Dunker so far. The board sets up with some corners. Linebacker. Unfortunately, there aren't really a lot of wide receivers here. Zachariah Branch, though. 5'10", 180. Yeah. It's an interesting one. We could go pass rusher again. Denied Dennis Sutton. Brian Parker, another interior offensive lineman. Corner. Yeah, I mean, corner wouldn't be terrible. But Brennan Thompson's down here. I think I'm going to go with just best. I don't know. This is a tough one. I'm going to go with another offensive lineman. Brian Parker. I know John loves this guy. Can play all 5 positions, I believe, and get our future center here for Ben Johnson's run game. Darrell Jackson Jr. for the Dolphins. We're on with our final pick for the Bills. 2 spots to move up 2 rounds next year with the Rams. Hell yes. I don't even need to look because that's fine. They come up for Deontay Lawson. Good for you. Malik Muhammad goes to the Saints. Back on with the Bills. And I'm not moving down that far. We have 1 pick so far. Omar Cooper Jr. for Buffalo. Now we need to fill some other stuff in here. Corner. Potentially corner is a need. We need pass rush. Somewhat. Linebacker. We definitely need some help there at off ball. Interior O line, potentially. We already got a wide receiver. So we have corners. We have Will Lee the third is on the board here. We have pass rush and deny Dennis Sutton, who would be a very solid selection as well. And I think that's where I'm going to lean. Yeah. I just think that you can't ever have too much pass rush. Especially with Chubb's injury history. The corner situation is the corner situation, but I really like my Penn State guy, Denai Dennis Sutton, and that's where I'm going to go with Buffalo here. Dominique Orange goes to the Ravens, 115, 154, 174. Eli Raridan to the Patriots. Katron Allen for the Seahawks. Vikings are going to go Chris McClellan. Eagles go Austin Barber. Steelers, they go Max Clare. And Brennan Thompson rounds us out with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So here's what we got. Moved around a little bit with both teams, but first round pick, we got Omar Cooper Jr. for the Bills, add to that offense. Our third pick, we moved back a couple spots. We picked up a 5th rounder from the Rams, moved up 2 rounds to move back 2 spots. 2 rounds in next year's draft, to move back 2 spots in this year's draft. Then I did Sutton. He's going to fill out that pass rush behind Bradley Chubb and Greg Rousseau. Bears, I absolutely love this draft. The last pick was a difficult one, but Akeem Messidor at 25, I think, is a steal. Amanda McNeil Warren at 41 is a definite steal. We came all the way up. Traded away 57, 129, and a third next year for a pick this year. And Jennings Dunker, loved the selection of Dunker at 60, and then Brian Parker. We got another offensive lineman just to keep pounding that rock there in Chicago. So really like these two drafts. The Bears, I think, win this one for me. It's tough when you have more picks versus less picks. That's definitely a factor. Bills, I thought, did a great job of getting trade value with that trade for the 5th rounder from the Rams. But all in all, I think all of those players will help solidify these teams for the future. So that is the show for the day. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast, Instagram and X, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. And TikTok at Football Addicts Pod. Monday, we will be doing the Commanders and the Saints. So if you're a fan of those two teams, make sure you tune in. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see y'all then.